Hi, everyone. My name is Cassandra Williamson. I am coming to you from a holler in eastern Kentucky, in Hardy, Kentucky, in Pike County, right along the Tug River. Beautiful, scenic Tug River, actually. Now they've turned it into something more than it used to be. It's actually a pretty nice place to go fishing, I think, apparently. So a lot of people do. And the other thing, big attraction in this area, just so you know, the other big attraction here are four-wheelers all over the darn place. They're everywhere around here. They start rolling in about this time of year. People come in from all over and just absolutely uh, do everything they can to have fun around here. And I can't answer that call. Ask my brother. I have to take that. So anyway, yeah, the four-wheelers come in, and I don't know how to turn the sound off back here in the back. Anyway, I hope they get it. So yeah, that's one of the big attractions here is that this is, I got to figure out how to stop that. Hold on. Can y'all bear with me just a second? Hold on. Hello. Hi. I don't know. I'm on line too, live, so people are hearing me talk to you. That's all right. You didn't know. No, he was asleep. He was asleep a minute ago. So, all right. Bye bye. That was my grand niece, great niece, I guess, something like that. Anyway, sorry about that. And Danny, good evening to you too. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. But anyway, what I was talking about really quickly was some of the attractions around here. And if you don't know where I'm located in eastern Kentucky, it's Pike County. Pike County is right up against West Virginia and Virginia. It's at the intersect, right at the corner where those two come together. Those three, all three of them come together right near where I am right now. But the other big thing around here was the Hatfield-McCoy feud. And some of you may not know what that is, but that was something that happened after the Civil War. On one side of the Tug River in West Virginia, you had someone who was supporting one side, and then on the other side, and then their kids got hooked up, and you know how things go with all of that. Well, neither side wanted that to happen, and there was a pig involved, and it became a big deal from the end of the Civil War all the way through like 1920. People died. People were hung over it. But that's huge around here. That's a big attraction. So the other news, family related, is my brother did come home today. He's noticeably improved. That's for sure. But there's still an underlying cough there. A lot of it has to do with COPD. I mean, he's got some serious breathing issues, and but the doctor said you can go on home. So here he is. He came back to his house, and now he's asleep on the couch and got his oxygen on and still hurting, same as before. But at least this time I think the pneumonia has been kicked, but he's still got a really bad cough. So we got a long way to go with some of the stuff going on with my brother Gideon, but he is home. And yeah, mom's all right. She just had some of her fajita chicken fajita supper, and so did my sister. So everybody's good here. I don't know about my cousin Lois. I hope she's all right. I haven't spoken to her today except to let her know that Gideon was coming home. Anyway, so that's an update for what's happening right here, right now. But what was the big news? It came out last night that the Supreme Court has authorized Donald Trump to use the Alien Enemies Act from 1798, particularly in reference to the Venezuelan Trinidad Aragua group terrorist organization. And I do consider them to be a terrorist organization. Them and MS-13 and anyone bringing drugs into this country and destroying our families and our kids, if you're doing stuff like that, as far as I'm concerned, you deserve to be bombed out of existence. That's just me. You deserve to be destroyed. Whatever it takes. Put you on the terrorist watch list. Grab all of your money, freeze all of your accounts, everything possible to shut you down. Yes. And here where I am located right now in Eastern Kentucky, one of the biggest problems around here is fentanyl and drugs, period. just any drugs, because the mining industry had fallen apart in this area. Even though today Trump is talking about building it back up. But I don't know how that's going to happen around here, because everything has been shut down, and mostly it's just tourist stuff. People all over these hills on the four-wheelers. But anyway, so I am all for going after these transnational organizations wherever they are. If they're bringing drugs and human trafficking and trafficking human beings into our country, then I am all for blowing them out of existence. I have no qualms about that. I would be the one up there going, do you want me to hit the button now? How about now? How about now? That's just me. And I've got no use for that stuff. I cannot stand it for anything in the world. I know it's a big problem all across the country, but I've seen too many people lose their lives around here over it. Had somebody that my brother knows who was heavily engaged in all kinds of drug stuff, and ended up getting, he was a really, according to my brother, a good person who just got lost in all the drugs and crap, and ended up in a shootout with the police and died. So, that's the kind of stuff that's going on in our country, not just here, but it's everywhere. And we've got to put an end to that. And if it takes going after someplace down in Mexico or Venezuela or Colombia or wherever it might be, even if the sources are coming out of China, we've got to take out the darn factories where this stuff's coming from. Got to stop it. So yeah, I'm in agreement with the Supreme Court's decision to allow Donald Trump to continue using the Alien Enemies Act of 1798. Fully support that. We've got to get these people out of here. There are some caveats to it, obviously. So if you want to read more about it, you can go check it out. I think I put the PDF is on the blog post. It talks about it. So you can go there and find out more about that. I support that decision by the Supreme Court, even though it was a 5-4 decision. And one of the conservatives moved over, and one or two, how many? There's three. Yeah, it had to be one moved over and went with the liberal side of the court. I think it was Barrett. And, I'm with the other 5. Point blank, other 5. I don't like that stuff. I don't like the people who are doing it. And I probably know a few people who do around here. There's no doubt about that. But pay the consequences, folks. That's all there is to it. The other thing I wanted to talk about is, let's see. Hey, did you happen to see the story I put out this morning called the hermaphroditic worms? Oh my God. We know that this stuff takes place in nature. It's always there. But the thing that caught my attention wasn't so much that this exists, because these particular worms can and do exist simultaneously in one worm, male and female. And depending on what they need to do in the community, in their group, they can go from one to the other. Just like that. But the thing that caught my attention was that let me back up and just say the scientists who were studying these hermaphroditic worms were actually looking for triggers that would cause cancer and stuff like that. And so they had put in some amyloids, the same stuff that causes dementia in human beings. They'd put some of that into these worms and were watching what happened. Well, the surprising thing to them, they weren't looking for this at all, but the surprising thing to them was that once they did that, not just amyloids, but other types of agents, the worms trended towards female and started becoming more and more female with each successive generation. It got passed on down. Each generation, the offspring would be more female. And I just thought it was so fascinating. It got to the point where at some point along the line, and they were also becoming less and less, they were becoming less fertile as each generation came along. So you got to the point where they were completely female and totally infertile. Now, ordinarily that would be just, just a little bit of science and science research. But the thing is, it was not connected to the DNA. It was not connected to anyone's understanding of genetic inheritance. Neither was it connected to RNA inheritance. It was something entirely different outside of all that. Now, we've known about epigenetics for a long time. This is something that we thought for the longest time that it was just environmental, but that's sometimes the trigger for epigenetics. And I know I'm getting kind of wonky, y'all just hang on, okay? Because I do that sometimes. I actually enjoy this stuff, the science of it. But it turned out to be something that would not have been construed or understood to be heritable. It turns out epigenetics, this is just further proof that epigenetic characteristics are also heritable, meaning they can pass from one generation to the other. And you don't get to look at the genes to make it happen. The genes aren't involved. RNA wasn't, DNA wasn't involved, RNA wasn't involved, but epigenetic characteristics were. And I just found that to be so freaking fascinating. Anyway, that's one of the biggest things. I really get a kick out of doing all that and digging into things, because I know I don't know a lot. Okay. There's a lot of stuff about humanity and about who we are and how we are to live and to be, that just hangs out in my mind. And I get to looking into things and other people and other things that they're talking about and studying and going into it a little bit further. And I hate it when somebody says, I researched this on the internet. Did you write a thesis and put out an actual paper, and was it peer reviewed? No, you didn't do research. You just went in there and Googled something. Okay. Research is far more technical and involved than just saying, oh yeah, I did some research there. It's good to go Google and learn and look up stuff. And I do that a lot. Okay. Waste a lot of time there too. But the whole point of all of that is this. Okay. Learn, be learning, become something, just never stop learning and realize you don't know it all the time. As a matter of fact, most of the time, most of us get to the place where we have amassed a lot of knowledge and a lot of experience and a lot of wisdom and stuff like this. But it amounts to this when the real mountain is this. I'm going to be able to see it on the screen here to here. Okay. I know that there's lots out there that I don't know, but I'm also willing to learn something from it too. So let's take something about the path forward. Let's kind of tie all this together. Okay. So what's the path forward when you're talking about something like the Supreme Court ruling over here about that the Alien Enemies Act can be used in certain situations? And we're talking about the hermaphroditic worms and the epigenetic factors and the DNA and the RNA and all the science and the wisdom and the knowledge and all that kind of stuff. And then talking about the stories that are taken about right here where I live right now, taking care of family. These are the stories that are here, talking about all the stuff that's here and the heritage. My heritage here goes back to 1795 when we moved from Virginia to here. So, what's the path forward though? What does all that mean for you and for me? Well, for one thing, I know that I am not the center of attention. And we've got a lot of people in this community who do nothing but go after being the center of attention. They want all the focus on them. And you're going to say, yeah, you're on here doing this. And I say, yeah, well, I think I'm trying to help, but if I'm not helping, well, I'm still going to talk, but I don't care if anybody watches or not. Maybe somewhere down the road, somebody will. But the point is, you don't, to be real, to be truthful with yourself does not require you to make a spectacle of yourself either. Okay. We don't need to be out doing all kinds of crazy stuff, demanding attention. and then just saying, that's the way I want it. That's the way I want it. If you don't do it this way, I am going to blah, 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 blah. I told people at the very beginning, this whole thing that I'm doing here right now, when I decide to go back live, I'm going to tell you the way I see it. No whole. Sometimes it may come across as being something you want to hear. Sometimes it may be something that challenges what you think you know. Sometimes it's going to be something that helps me too. Okay, so that's what I'm trying to do here. I'm trying to get us through all of this crap that's going on around us. And if you're one of those people who want to get through all of this successfully and thrive through it all, then my suggestion is find a way to be who you want to be and do it and be that. Be that. Don't be the spectacle, because that's really selfish. Because what happens is you got all the light focused on you, and then the whole country focuses on you along with you for 15 minutes. And in the interim, nothing has been accomplished except proving that you are nothing more than a petulant, self-centered child. Too many in our community, by the way, are doing that. Put themselves out there in front of all of this stuff and all the media, and they get picked up by all these different organizations, and they know darn well they have no business walking in the darn women's bathroom. They know they should not be playing sports on a genetic women's sports team. It doesn't matter whether or not the science says this or says that. It's the perception, and the narrative has been taken away from all of us because of that. But the thing is, you have to think about other people. You've got to start thinking about the broader scope of things, because once you start just thinking about, oh, this is what I'm going to do it this way. I'm going to go step into here and take a big picture, and I'm going to complain about it, and then I'm going to talk about it, and I'm going to run away from it. I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. And all the time, you're doing nothing to respect what it is that you want to be. Do everything you can. Right now, we've got to survive and thrive. And yeah, it will turn around in a couple of years. New people will be in office. People will get pissed off about everything that's going on. But I want to see you on the other side of all of this. Okay? That's what I want. I want to see you on the other side of all of this, to get through this. And with that, come back tomorrow evening. We'll have another chat. 6 p.m. Eastern Time, Wednesday evening. And also, by the way, tomorrow evening at 7:30, Wednesday evening at 7:30, if you haven't registered for it already, go on those blogs, and somewhere down through there at the bottom, towards the bottom of the page, you'll see a link to register for a Zoom meeting. This is not the same as what we're doing right now, but the idea of the Zoom meeting is, one, I want to check in on the people who do sign up and register. I'm looking for news tips, story ideas, conversation that can be used to help reach other people. So if you do that, I would greatly appreciate it. And if you happen to think about it, all this stuff does cost quite a bit. So if you can afford a cup of coffee for me, I'd appreciate it. You can find all that on the website too. All of it here. There. Okay. Well, where'd it go? So there it is. Go to the website, find that. If you want to buy me a cup of coffee or a donut, I appreciate it too. So thank you so much. And by the way, the people who have commented today, Danny, thank you so much from up there in Maine. I mean, you're a stalwart. So thank you so much. I appreciate it. Really do. I know that there are others watching from all over the place. And sometimes the view count up here is just pure garbage because you can't trust those numbers. A lot of stuff doesn't show up there. So it depends on your definition of a view. Sometimes a view is somebody dropping in and going, "Oh, I didn't mean to stop there," and gets counted. So anyway, make sure that you are taking care of yourself and that you are also thinking of the broader community and your impact on that community. And I look forward to seeing you tomorrow evening. Bye for now.